All right, we believe what we believe about ourselves because of the stories we tell. You examine a culture's stories, and you find the power that drives it forward or furthers it towards the cliff. If you want to build a different kind of world, we start by critically examining our stories, hashing over them honestly to determine their effects and decide if they're worth the telling. In our society, one of our greatest taboos is sex. And I believe that the shame associated with our natural sexuality has powered the growth of Western empire for at least a few millennia. And I believe that these feelings of shame and fear are all deeply rooted in our most basic and foundational moral story, that of original sin. This is the story that tells us who and what we are. It assigns to us a definable and, quite frankly, stunted view of human nature. So obviously heterosexual and monogamous humans are in the garden, easily seduced by evil, shamed into fig leaves by their sexuality, tossed out of the garden of abundance and eternal immortality into the punishing world of agricultural toil, with its scarcity, pain, and punishing death. Even if we deny this story, we are marinated in its lessons. We are not to be trusted. Gullibility to evil is our essential nature. We have reason for shame and fear. We can't do anything right. We're defective. We need repair to be saved. We need laws, rules, authorities, governments to keep us from harming the common good and from offending the great moral governance in the sky. Empires, governments on earth could not operate without this story of a hopelessly depraved human nature as moral justification for its existence. So what of sex? We believe that we're liberated from shame with our online porn and twerks, but is this really freedom, or is this just a sad little knee-jerk against the expectations of continued moral expectations? There are, after all, plenty of cultures in which sex is not at all shameful. Most hunter-gatherers, past and present, have no shame attached to their bodies, its functions, or its sexual expression. In fact, much about the body and sexuality is celebrated. Monogamy is not the norm in these societies. Paternity is often understood to be shared by multiple males. Fathers are sometimes known and sometimes not. Paternity is a non-issue because isolated nuclear families don't raise the children, but the whole tribe does, usually with maternal brothers taking the fatherly role. There are many fathers in tribal life. According to Chris Ryan, author of Sex at Dawn, monogamy is unnatural and the cause of much human suffering. He says, since Darwin, we have been told that monogamy is the way we have evolved, but it isn't true. It's a choice, and it comes with social costs that have to be recognized. For 2 million years, our ancestors lived in fiercely egalitarian groups who shared everything, including sex. Our pre-agricultural ancestors would have had several sexual relationships going on at any one time, a sexuality which strengthened group cohesion and offered a measure of social security in an uncertain world. All of that ended with the advent of agriculture just 10,000 years ago. When our ancestors started farming, they organized around hierarchical political structures, private property, ownership, and a terrible shift in the status of women, who went from occupying a central, respected role to a producer of heirs, another of man's possessions, along with his house, slaves, and livestock. Ryan again. Our bodies, minds, and sexuality all reflect a highly sexual primate. Research from primatology, anthropology, anatomy, and psychology point to the same conclusion. A non-possessive, gregarious sexuality was the human norm until the rise of agriculture. So why does this moral story of shame and fear get imposed upon free people in untouched lands? Hunter-gatherers need nothing from the colonizer. They must be drawn away from their natural freedom and nature's abundance to accept the yoke of toil set out for them by empire. As we, in this culture, have all also been shaped and molded from free agents of our own desires into compliant human resources. Most everything wild and free has been domesticated and fenced into a kind of agricultural, industrial, human zoo. Original sin subverts the juiciness of our own powerful life force into the Protestant work ethic smack of the rod, which keeps us in production, rather than, God forbid, idle hands in the devil's dark workshop. So we've kept busy, domesticated into the separate, distinct nuclear unit, walled off and competing against our only true social security the only true social security there ever was, our tribe, our people. We turn instead to empire for our every requirement, our every obscene consumer desire, that while the superpower's economy grows and the culture heads toward the cliff. Our desire to express ourselves freely as connected beings in a creative universe has been subverted into mere production in a consumer economy. We keep our noses to the grindstone, taught to find our worth as productive members of society. But we are not human resources. We were born to be lustily wild and free as all creatures of this earth. Yeah. So how do we fix this mess? Our challenge today is in redesigning this unkind and restrictive human zoo into something that allows our indigenous souls to shine and thrive. We should reconsider our domestication, even civilization, reimagine ourselves and our world, and let nature guide us in all ways as we move ahead. When we accept the shame and we accept the cage, and like any wild creature in confinement, we develop problems. We lash out in lying, cheating, divorce, addictions, and a long list of social disorders. Shame, shame, shame. Evolutionarily, we aren't made for domestication, and we know it. I believe this is the root of that nagging feeling. Surely there must be something more to life than this. We don't need more entertainment or vacations. We need more honesty, fearlessness, giving and receiving, more gifts, less structure, more flow, less certainty, more it's okay, I don't know, more allowing the soft animal bodies of ourselves to take it all in. When we do, our desire for life and our desire to be in service of life grows boundlessly. Truly wild and free human expression is very bad for empire. So we must rewild, retribe, take it as far as you like. No shame, no fear. Rewrite the story of human nature into an understanding of the many stories of human culture. Join community, give it all away, crumble the empire, build the new earth.